All right, John. Good afternoon, Captain Cruncher, aka The Fits. This one in, well, sometimes they always try and tie in something religious to what I be saying, but this one in technically fully one of those. Just scrolling through some videos, and one of my favorite topics came up from a child: sharks. I always used to like sharks, especially great whites. Look, sharks in the Bahamas. Yeah, this ocean around here. So I always tell people when I used to be on the boat, "Are there any sharks in the water?" It's like, yes, there ain't no fence down there. I never seen none back in them days, but ain't nothing to stop them from coming around. Yeah, there's sharks, yo. I haven't had a whole lot of shark experiences, but I got a couple memorable ones. Some I'll tell folks about if the topic comes around. But this one just kind of popped back into memory. Years ago, probably, I'd have to say probably more than just over 10 years ago, went out to actually flew over to Abaco to bring a boat back to Nassau. And I still think my license at the time might have been current if it's the real one. But anyway, I was over there just more or less just to help the captain bring the boat back. And as we was leaving, I don't know for whatever reason, I never been to Abaco. I mean, I've been there, but not to say on no boat trip or anything like that to know exactly which routes people ordinarily take. But I do know it seems strange that Nassau was in one direction and the guy was sending us in the opposite direction of the island of Nassau to get from Abaco back to Nassau for some reason. Anyhow, going through these little short, narrow, cuts and stuff that I couldn't really make no speed, so we burned out quite a good bit of gas just bubbling through the little shallow water trying to get out to the ocean. It was out there probably feel like over 2 hours just trying to get to the ocean. When we actually finally got out there and got to moving a little bit, Cap was driving, I wasn't driving, but it was just us two. I can't remember the size of the boat, but it seemed like it was probably maybe about a 30 foot, 28, 30 foot, like center console. Nice boat, with the little, what they call it, the T-top, the fishing top on thing where you could go and stand up on top and drive, and you could spot your fish or whatever else. And I had to go to the bathroom. I noticed Cap took himself a nice healthy dump before we left, which I thought was, people use the bathroom. Was one of the fancy ones that's got like a little toilet or anything like that on board, so we made sure he let loose before we got out there. I'm one of them who kind of actually, once I go sometime before, I ain't an everyday kind of person like that, so I was cool, but I had to pee. So I say, hold on, Cap, slow down right quick. Let me catch a leak off the back of the boat or something like that. And it's like he ain't even hear me. I was like, what the? Anyhow, I know exactly what his problem was. Didn't seem like the most normal person to me anyway, but still. I still had to pee. So let me see if I could hold on to this. I didn't want to stand on the back of the boat, and then for whatever reason, I don't trust hardly nobody. Stand at the back of the boat, and then a wave hit whilst I have my two hands holding onto my peeing apparatus and stuff. Miss him bump and fall overboard, and by the time he realized, he's somewhere halfway back to Nassau, if the gas allowed for it. But he didn't stop or slow down. So I went up top on the top thing. I was like, alright. I think I might have got a little bit of a prayer. Like, oh, hold on, let me piss or wait till, something, you slow down or whatever. I thought he was going to slow down, but I'm trying to figure out now what I can use to pee inside of and then maybe throw it overboard. As I'm up there looking around, just enjoying the view, catching a little bit of sun, I then got to switch over to my, swimsuit and stuff like that. I always keep a swimsuit when I go on boat, not just regular clothes like how some people maybe used to do it. I put on my swimsuit, not saying I was expecting tragedy or nothing like that, but because I on the ocean, if just catching some suns, I guess. And like we on no trip, we heading back to Nassau, as far as I know. I'm standing up there, and I see from one side of the boat, from the port side, which is the left side of the boat. For y'all who don't know, I see this little gray shark. Couldn't have been more than maybe 4 feet long. Run straight from one side of the boat and come out onto the other side of the boat. And the exact time he ran underneath the boat and came out the other side, the engines cut out on the boat. I mean, I'm talking like as if he gone under there and flipped the off switch kind of instantly, and then came out the other side. Nice little one of these kind of fellas in the ocean. Yeah, they here. How I know? Because I know my favorite animal from a child, where anywhere I see it. Thanks, by the way. I really did have to pee. So I was like, well, I don't know if the engine will start up again, but I guess this is my cue. Let me go catch my leak. So I did. Went to pee, and the boat started up again. Ran again for a few more minutes. And then the engine cut out for real. I need to go into all the details. I guess before we went out there, we loaded up with fuel, and somehow I had to go and drop some folks over to, I guess, one of the islands over there, to where they work, have like a little, I don't know, snorkeling site or something. So that burned out a good 20 minutes of fuel. Now I know what these dudes in the back of the boat, but the only time Cap let me hold the wheel was they was in the back there fiddling with the engine. The whole time all I was smelling was gas. So I don't know what was happening. Nothing was wrong with the engine as far as I know while we was going out there, but you know how God have me thinking, I don't know these dudes. They don't look too real to me. And I know a few things there's Pirates of the Caribbean, but like I say, I had on my swimsuit. I ain't saying I was no Michael Phelps, but when I'm in swim mode, I can swim with some of the best of them. I don't know if they could, but I don't know if they was probably thinking that far ahead. See, trying to leave us stranded or something like that. So whatever could happen. Just stuff I was thinking about. But anyway, God today said, must be, I'm your Huckleberry. So they running out gas out of the engine, out of the tank, whilst we heading out to this place that technically wasn't on the menu of what we were supposed to be doing, that I knew of. Dropped them there, headed out through this narrow spot like how I was saying. I think that might have been the next morning. Anyway, but we didn't fuel back up before we left. So engine cut out, and the engine cut out the second time. Started getting a little bit hungry. Now the same dude who just happened to use the bathroom and wipe his tail and stuff like that decide he gonna make himself a sandwich. He have his bag of food, I have my bag of food. One loaf of bread to share between the two of us. Now I want to make me a sandwich now, so I go ahead and make me a sandwich. Only thing I thinking now, he ain't wash his hands. I don't know how keen he is with his wipery and stuff like that, but he jumped head first in the flicking loaf of bread, one loaf of bread, whilst the engine got off and we out there stranded. Good thing I made me a little something first. And I was smoking at the time, so I was like, alright, let me catch me a smoke. And for whatever reason, the gas somehow leaking from in the front of the boat, and the back of the boat stink of gasoline from them doing whatever they was doing in the back of the boat. And then I look off to the side of the boat again. I'm sitting at the bow, looking back at them. It's this nasty so and so, whatever. Anyway, I look off to the side of the boat and I see something come to the surface, like roll past the surface. Now, it was either 3 dolphins, 3 little whales, like right behind each other, because it was only just a little, a second or two that it actually came up, crested over, and then rolled back under. Or it was something else with like 3 or so fins on it. Loch Ness. Yeah, there's some stuff out there. Thank God for the cruise ship who brought us back.